Have you noticed that foods you used to enjoy without any problem are now causing you real discomfort? Maybe it's bread, or dairy, or even certain vegetables. And the older you get, the worse it seems to become. You're not imagining it. And no, it's not just getting older. Your body may actually be sending you a very specific warning signal, and if you ignore it, things could get significantly worse over the next few years. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share with you could completely change the way you think about what's happening inside your body. Here's something that might surprise you. Food intolerances in adults over 50 are far more common than most doctors acknowledge during a routine checkup. In fact, millions of people over 50 are quietly dealing with this every single day. After eating a meal they've had hundreds of times before, they feel bloated, uncomfortable, or exhausted. Sometimes they get cramps. Sometimes their digestion goes completely off track for hours. And most of them, they just accept it. They start avoiding certain foods. They take antacids. They tell themselves it's just part of getting older. But here's the thing. That thinking could actually be making the problem much worse. Because what most people don't realize is that food intolerances that develop or worsen after 50 are rarely about the food itself. They are almost always a signal that something deeper is happening inside your digestive system. And once you understand what that is, a lot of things will start to make sense. Now, when people start reacting badly to foods, especially foods they've eaten their whole lives, the first instinct is to blame the food. Cut out gluten. Stop eating dairy. Avoid onions or garlic or beans. And sometimes that does bring short-term relief. But researchers who study digestion and aging have discovered something that goes much deeper than any single food group. They found that the real problem, in most cases, isn't the food at all. It's what's happening inside your gut before that food even gets properly digested. There's an entire ecosystem living inside your digestive tract. Trillions of microscopic organisms that play a direct role in how your body processes food, absorbs nutrients, and responds to what you eat. And in people over 50, this ecosystem begins to change in ways that most people are completely unaware of. When that internal ecosystem becomes imbalanced, and it very commonly does after 50, your body begins reacting to foods it once handled easily. Not because the food changed, but because your gut did. But here's where things get really interesting. Scientists have discovered that the gut microbiome, that's the name for this community of bacteria and microorganisms living in your digestive tract, doesn't just affect digestion, it also affects your immune system, your mood, your energy levels, even how clearly you think. So when it starts breaking down, the effects go far beyond just feeling uncomfortable after a meal. And the reason it breaks down after 50, that's where most people are completely in the dark, because it's not just about what you eat. There's a hidden process happening inside your body, one that accelerates with age, that quietly depletes the very organisms your gut depends on to function properly. And once I explain what that process is, you may finally understand why your food reactions have been getting worse, even when your diet hasn't really changed. The answer comes down to your gut's probiotic bacteria. Probiotics are the beneficial live bacteria that live throughout your digestive system. They are not a luxury. They are not optional. They are absolutely essential to how your body processes and tolerates food. Here's how it works in simple terms. When you eat, your gut bacteria do a large portion of the actual work. They help break down complex carbohydrates, proteins, and fibers that your stomach and small intestine can't fully process on their own. They produce enzymes, they regulate the lining of your gut wall, and they train your immune system to tell the difference between a harmful substance and an ordinary piece of food. When your probiotic population is healthy and diverse, your body handles most foods with no problem. But when that population becomes depleted or imbalanced, which is exactly what happens in most people after 50, your gut loses its ability to process certain foods properly. Your gut lining becomes more sensitive. Your immune system starts flagging foods as threats. And suddenly, things that never bothered you before start causing real discomfort. that reaction you feel after eating bread or cheese or beans. In many cases, it's not a true food intolerance in the medical sense. It's your gut microbiome signaling that it no longer has the tools it needs to do its job properly. And the research on this is growing rapidly. Studies have consistently shown that older adults have significantly less bacterial diversity in their gut compared to younger people, and that this decline is directly linked to increased food sensitivity, digestive discomfort, and systemic inflammation. Now, here's the part that most people find genuinely surprising. You might assume that if your gut bacteria are declining, you'd know about it. You'd feel it. You'd have obvious digestive symptoms every single day. But that's not always how it starts. For many people, the first signs of a depleted gut microbiome are not digestive at all. They show up in completely different places. And if you're not looking for the connection, you would never guess that your gut is involved. So before we get to the solutions, I want to walk you through the full picture of what a declining probiotic population actually looks like, because you may already be experiencing several of these signs without realizing they're all connected. Let's go through the most common signs that your gut microbiome may be struggling. The first is worsening food reactions. This is the obvious one. Foods that used to be fine are now causing bloating, gas, cramping, or discomfort. This can happen with dairy, gluten, legumes, certain vegetables, or even foods high in natural sugars. It tends to creep up gradually, which is why so many people don't connect it to gut health. The second is unpredictable digestion. Some days constipated, other days loose. No clear pattern, no obvious cause. This kind of irregularity is a classic sign that the microbial balance in your gut is off. The third is fatigue after eating. If you regularly feel tired, heavy, or foggy after meals, even light ones, your gut may not be absorbing nutrients efficiently. When your probiotic bacteria are depleted, nutrient absorption suffers directly. The fourth is low-grade bloating that never fully goes away. Not just after meals. A persistent sense of fullness or pressure in the abdomen that becomes your new normal. Many people over 50 have lived with this for so long, they've stopped noticing it. The fifth is more frequent illness or slow recovery. This one surprises people. But roughly 70% of your immune system is housed in and around your gut. When your gut bacteria are depleted, your immune defenses weaken with them. You may find yourself catching colds more often, or taking longer to bounce back from minor infections. The sixth is mood changes or increased anxiety. Your gut produces a significant portion of your body's serotonin, the neurotransmitter most closely linked to feelings of calm and well-being. When gut bacteria are out of balance, serotonin production can be disrupted. This is why many people with gut microbiome imbalance also report feeling more anxious, irritable, or emotionally flat. And the seventh is skin issues. Recurring rashes, eczema flare-ups, or a dull and reactive complexion can all be downstream effects of gut inflammation caused by microbial imbalance. The gut-skin connection is well established in research, and it's far more direct than most people realize. If several of these resonate with you, your gut microbiome deserves serious attention. So why does the gut microbiome decline so significantly after 50? There are several reasons, and most of them are working against you quietly in the background. Age-related changes in digestion. As we get older, stomach acid production decreases. Digestive enzyme output slows. The muscular contractions that move food through your intestines become less efficient. All of this changes the environment inside your gut in ways that favor harmful bacteria and disadvantage the beneficial ones. Antibiotic use. This is one of the most significant and least discussed causes. Antibiotics do not selectively target harmful bacteria. They wipe out large portions of your gut microbiome indiscriminately. And research shows that after a course of antibiotics, the gut can take months or even years to fully recover. And in some cases, certain bacterial strains never fully return. Over a lifetime, repeated antibiotic use compounds this damage considerably. Common medications. Several medications taken regularly by adults over 50 are known to negatively affect gut bacteria. Proton pump inhibitors, acid reflux medications, alter the stomach environment in ways that disrupt bacterial balance. Metformin, used for blood sugar management, affects the microbiome. Certain blood pressure medications, statins, and pain relievers also play a role. This doesn't mean you should stop taking prescribed medications, but it does mean the microbiome impact is real and worth addressing. Dietary changes with age. Many older adults gradually reduce their intake of fiber-rich foods, fermented foods, and diverse plant sources, exactly the foods that feed and sustain a healthy microbiome. This shift in diet is one of the primary drivers of microbial decline after 50. Stress and poor sleep. Chronic stress and disrupted sleep patterns, both common in the over 50 population, directly affect the gut-brain axis and contribute to microbial imbalance. The connection runs in both directions. A troubled gut worsens stress and sleep, and stress and poor sleep worsen the gut. Reduced physical activity. Exercise has been shown to promote bacterial diversity in the gut. As activity levels decrease with age, so does the microbial richness that depends on it. The combination of all these factors means that by the time many people reach their 50s and 60s, their gut microbiome has been quietly declining for years, often without any obvious single cause they can point to. The good news is that the gut microbiome is one of the most responsive systems in the human body. With the right approach, meaningful improvement is genuinely possible at any age. Start with a high-quality probiotic supplement. Look for a multi-strain product that contains at least 10 billion CFUs, that stands for colony-forming units, per serving. The strains Lactobacillus acidophilus, Lactobacillus rhamnosus, and Bifidobacterium longum have the strongest research support for digestive health and food tolerance in older adults. Bifidobacterium in particular tends to decline most sharply with age, so products that emphasize this strain are especially relevant for the over 50 group. Always speak with your doctor before starting any new supplement, particularly if you take prescription medications. Feed your existing gut bacteria with prebiotic foods. Probiotics need fuel to survive and thrive. Prebiotics are the fibers and plant compounds that feed beneficial bacteria. The best sources include garlic, onions, leeks, asparagus, bananas, oats, flax seeds, and Jerusalem artichokes. Even small daily additions of these foods can make a meaningful difference over time. Introduce fermented foods gradually. Fermented foods are natural probiotic sources that have supported human gut health for thousands of years. Yogurt with live cultures, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, miso, and kombucha all introduce beneficial bacteria directly into the gut. If your gut is currently sensitive, introduce these slowly, starting with small amounts and building up over 2 to 3 weeks, to avoid temporary digestive discomfort as your microbiome adjusts. Diversify your plant intake. Research consistently shows that eating a wide variety of plants is one of the strongest predictors of microbial diversity. Aim for as many different vegetables, fruits, legumes, nuts, seeds, and whole grains as possible throughout the week. Color variety on your plate generally reflects bacterial variety in your gut. Reduce ultra-processed foods and excess sugar. Highly processed foods and refined sugars actively feed harmful bacteria while starving the beneficial ones. You don't have to be perfect, but a gradual reduction in processed food intake creates a significantly more favorable environment for your microbiome to recover. Protect your gut during and after antibiotics. If you need to take antibiotics, take your probiotic supplement at least 2 hours apart from each antibiotic dose. After finishing the course, continue probiotics consistently for at least 4 to 8 weeks to support microbial recovery. Prioritize sleep and stress management. 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep each night and regular stress reduction practices, whether that's walking, gentle yoga, meditation, or simply spending time in nature, have measurable positive effects on gut bacteria over time. And one more thing worth mentioning, If your food intolerances are severe or have developed rapidly, it is always worth speaking with your doctor. Conditions such as celiac disease, inflammatory bowel disease, or small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, known as SIBO, require specific medical assessment and go beyond what probiotic support alone can address. Let's bring this all together. If foods that never used to bother you are increasingly causing discomfort, if your digestion has become unpredictable, your energy is lower, and your body just doesn't seem to tolerate meals the way it once did, the answer may not lie in eliminating more foods from your diet. It may lie in restoring what's been quietly disappearing inside your gut for years. Your probiotic bacteria are not a minor detail in your digestive health. They are central to it. They determine how well your body processes food, absorbs nutrients, regulates inflammation, and tolerates the full range of things you eat every day. After 50, those bacteria face a steady accumulation of pressures, from aging, medications, diet, stress, and a dozen other factors. But the microbiome is also genuinely responsive to care. The steps we've talked about today are practical, accessible, and backed by solid research. You don't have to accept worsening food reactions as your new normal. Understanding what's really happening is the first step toward changing it. If this video gave you a new way of looking at what's been happening with your digestion, I'd really love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me which foods have become harder for you to tolerate. Has your digestion changed noticeably in the last few years? Your experience might help someone else watching this right now realize they're not alone. If you found this useful, please give it a like. It genuinely helps this information reach more people who need it. And if you want to keep learning about what's really going on inside your body after 50, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Thank you so much for watching. Take good care of your gut, because your gut is taking care of far more than you might realize.